Hi, this is Rizwan from Cyber Tech Lighting. It's February 17, 2022. I hope everyone is doing well and safe. I wanted to go over this new product of ours. It is a emergency outdoor battery backup, and I wanted to talk about how we wire this battery backup. It is our model BK400OD. So it is a 4-watt unit, and it's an outdoor case, and your battery backup is inside. It's all in one piece, and you've got a test switch here that you can test on, and the test switch actually has an LED. It's a watertight test switch, so you press it and you can do the test once everything is running. So I'm going to go over what the wires, or where the wires are, what wires are in this, and that way you can know which wires connect to what. So I'm going to separate out the input, and I'm going to talk about the input first. These are 3 input wires. We got a neutral, black for line, and then a ground. Basically, you use these to, of course, wire to the unit. And in fact, I've got a unit here just to show you. This is our wall pack full cutoff. It's actually a wall pack that is able to operate at different wattages and different lumens. And I just wanted to use this so you, just in case, so that way you wouldn't get confused if you had a unit similar to this. It is simple wiring, but it can get confusing because this has a lot more wires. Okay, so what you would do is you would actually take this back plate or this battery backup and mount it, and this comes with 2 brackets, so you can mount it on those brackets. There's also another option that you can remove the brackets, and then you can mount it using these anchors. We have anchors available, and you remove the brackets through these big holes. There is where you have the screws. You remove it, you put your anchors in, and through that same hole you use the anchor screws to anchor it to the wall. Once you anchor it this way, it's kind of flush to the wall. With these brackets, it kind of stays off the wall. You mount this unit, and then you mount this next to that, and then you put your connector through these knockouts that you have. So any knockout is a standard knockout. It goes in there. It's a watertight connector. It plugs in. Push your wires through. Of course, you're going to connect the ground. There's all the ground connected here, so you'd connect all the grounds together. You'd have wire or power coming in from the back, so you'd have a line and a neutral. In a battery backup system, you actually need to have 2 input powers, and one to operate the unit, and one to have constant power to the emergency light or the emergency driver. So the unit can be turned on and off with a input that has a switch, or we call it a switched input. So you would put your power on the black. You would use the switched input for the black driver wire, and you could turn on and off the unit through this driver. But on this driver here, or this emergency driver or an emergency backup, you would need a constant power. Now, if you don't have a constant power, let's say this is in a stairwell somewhere where you need to have the light on all the time, so you would not necessarily need a constant power. It would be one power. It's always going to be on. If that power completely shuts off, then it knows that it's got to switch over. If you are having it on a switch and you turn this power off, this will still show that there is power in the building because it'll be constantly coming. And so that constant power will tell it that it doesn't need to turn on or switch over to emergency power. Once this is off, so you turn off the unit, there's no power going there, and then you turn off this power, neither one is running, then it'll notice that, hey, there is no power coming to the building, and it would switch over to emergency battery power, and it would operate. Now the battery operates 90 minutes at 4 watts. So any unit that is running is only going to run it at 4 watts. And at 4 watts, to try to understand how many lumens that is, you have to know the lumen output of the fixture. If you've got a fixture that is giving you 120 lumens, so 120 lumens per watt, and you've got 4 watts running through the unit, you're going to get 480 lumens. If you've got 110 per watt, you're going to have 440 lumens, and so on. So you can have it higher lumens and lower lumens, and you multiply it by 4. So now you've got this unit in, and you have connected the power, the constant power, the switch power to the unit, constant power to the battery backup, and the neutral and the ground. So you're done with the 3 wires there. This is actually what you do with these two. This is a little plug. Once you have finished everything and all installation and wiring is done, you plug in the battery. So the battery starts to charge. So the battery is disconnected and it's left open until you are done with everything. Then it starts to charge, and the battery usually needs about 24 hours to charge. But after a couple of hours, and sometimes these things, when they're tested, they do charge the battery. You might be able to switch it over or press the test switch, and the test switch would bypass all the power and it would turn on the unit for you. So what I'm going to do now is I've already covered sort of the input power. I'm going to talk about the output power. So I'm going to go to this diagram that we have on this whiteboard, and it's going to kind of explain this. So now you've got this mounted on the wall, you've got these wires, and you've already done your AC power. So what I've done here is made this a simple drawing. We've got the driver here with 2 wires, which are the output wires going to the LED chips. So you've got the output here and the input here. This is the AC input, the black wire from the driver that operates the unit. So you would have a switched power to this AC line. And of course, neutrals are neutral. All the neutrals can be connected together. You'd have a switched unit coming in here. On this one, you would have the constant power. So you've got the switch. It turns on the power. It turns on the chips and your product lights. Now what we're going to do is we're going to tap into the output and the input of the LED and the output of the driver with the 3 wires that we have left. We've got 3 wires left, a brown, a purple, and a blue. And the way to do that is basically we're going to cut these red. This red and is the positive out from the driver, goes to the positive of the chips, and this black is the negative of the driver and goes to the negative of the chips. Usually I've seen black and red in these output wires, but there could be, it may vary in different drivers. You're just going to look at the driver itself, and it'll tell you this is the positive to the chips, and this is the positive to the negative to the chips. So to the LED. So now what you're going to do is now we're going to take this and intersect those wires using the wires that we have here. So we've got a brown wire. So the brown wire goes to the driver positive. Driver positive. We connect the brown wire. Brown wire is connected to the driver positive. Then we've got the purple wire, and the purple wire connects to the LED positive. Now we've got the negative left, and what we're going to do is we're going to take the blue wire and connect the negative, and it's going to connect to both the LED and the driver negative. So all 3 wires will be connected together. Now what's going to happen is basically now you've got the battery backup wired up. As soon as you turn on the light, the power is on now. Turn on the power, and then you take the switch and you turn on the switch to the AC. Let's say I'm going to put a switch here. You turn on the switch, it connects to this, power starts to flow, it turns on the chips. Basically it goes through your battery backup and it turns on the chips. Once this power is off, it turns off the light. And then once your building power is off, both the light and the battery or emergency driver turns, there's no power in this, there's no power in this. It pretty much brings in power through the battery backup, so the emergency backup, to the LED chips, turns it on, operates it at 4 watts, and and then you've got still some light. So basically, you've got to actually figure out how many lumens you need on whatever wall pack, wherever it's mounted, based on your code requirements. There's usually a certain, maybe one foot candle to at the egress or the exit. So you've got to calculate that out, make sure that you have the right amount of lumens coming out. I think that pretty much covers the wiring of this backup. I thank you very much.